John Wick came out in 2014 and stars Keanu Reeves as John Wick, and I'm very excited to give you guys my review for this movie. Be sure to check out my review for John Wick Chapter 4, as well be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now let's get into this review. In this movie, an ex-hitman comes out of retirement to track down a gangster that killed his dog and took his car. So I really like John Wick. I think this is a great movie, and it was really interesting rewatching this movie after watching Chapter 4, because it's been a while since I watched the first one, and it was just interesting seeing a difference of how far the franchise got. Like, it was always good, in my opinion, the franchise. Each movie just upped the action and improved on their action choreography and the stunts. So this movie, it's still really good, and while the action's not quite as big as it got to in the later movies, that's not a knock on this movie. It just feels so different, like it feels more grounded, for lack of better words, but it's still very good. Like, the action in this is great, the choreography is fantastic, Keanu Reeves does a really good job, and he throws himself right into the action. It's really exciting. A lot of brutal kills, it's great, and it has a simple story, but a story that really works. You understand where the character is, you feel for him right at the get-go, where he's just lost his wife, and then he has this puppy that gets killed, they take his car, so you're rooting for this guy, and you're just rooting for him all the way throughout this movie. And they start setting up things for building this world that was very interesting, I thought, and I don't think they had planned on doing sequels to this. It wasn't until, you know, the good word of mouth, I guess. But the stuff that they did set up in this was really cool, with the Continental Hotel. That was really cool. They started laying down some of the rules they have in this world that I really liked. So that was cool. And even the setup for John Wick's character, when they started talking about his past, was really cool. Just how, like, people feared him and stuff. Really like that. All the performances in this were great. All the characters are great, and they get to see more of the characters throughout this franchise. They bring them back each movie, or some of them. So really like that. You have the guy from Game of Thrones, who's one of the main antagonists in this movie. He was really good in this. Overall, it was good. I think all the characters worked for this movie. Like I said, the action was good. There was a couple moments where they did stuff like with a car that would bang into John Wick that, you know, I could see some CGI there, but for the most part, it looked very real. The movie just looked really good. And again, rewatching this after the fourth one, you can see how, like, the budget kept improving with each movie, but for what they had, they did some really good stuff in this movie. Willem Dafoe is also in this movie as another hitman that's sort of like a friend of John Wick's. I enjoyed his character. He wasn't in it a whole lot, but I enjoyed it when he popped up in this movie. The movie moves at a really good pace as well. I think the movie's around an hour and a half long, so it's not a long movie. Again, each movie sort of got longer and longer, but it moved at a really good pace. Final act, the final portion of this movie did slow down a bit, because sort of what the movie was building up to, they reached that point, and then they sort of continue on for about another 20 minutes or so, maybe a bit longer. So that part did sort of feel like it was starting to drag, because it felt like you had reached the natural conclusion, but they kept going a bit, and they did some exciting stuff in that portion, but it just sort of felt like they went past where you would think the movie was going to end. So that part did kind of drag a little bit, but for the most part, this movie kept moving at a good pace. Was always exciting, because you're going into this new world that they're setting up, diving into it, learning new things. The character is really good, and you get bits of his history, you get interactions with him and people who knew him before. So that was really cool. Really like that. And yeah, like I said, the action in this was great. I really liked the action scene at the start that's in his house. That was really fun. Enjoyed that scene. I liked the moment at the end with the police officer who clearly knew John Wick and who he was. Really liked that moment. That was fun. Other than that, I think my favorite action scene would have been when he was chasing the guy he was after to this club. That was probably my favorite scene. It's sort of funny. I feel like all the John Wick movies have a club action scene, but that scene was cool. I thought that was quite good. So yeah, overall, John Wick's a very fun action movie. It's smaller in scale and scope than its sequels, but I think it works quite well. They sort of get you into this underground world, start setting things up, and a really cool world to explore in this movie. Really enjoyed that. Action's fantastic. Story works quite well. It's a simple story, but it works, and that's all this movie needs. acting was great. The antagonist I really enjoyed. Loved all of it. Like I said, it did feel like it sort of went a little bit past its natural conclusion point. But other than that, I don't really have many huge issues with this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. For me, I'm going to give John Wick an 87%. So guys, those are my thoughts on John Wick. Let me know what you thought about it as well. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And be sure to stay tuned for some more reviews coming soon. I'm going to have a review out for Rocky 5 coming soon, as well as the next series of Doctor Who. And I'll be continuing my John Wick movies with Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. So stay tuned for those. And until my next video, take care everybody.